On the 6th of May 2025, a stolen Honda was spotted. When police signaled for the vehicle to stop, the suspect refused to comply, instead accelerating and fleeing, triggering a police pursuit. As the pursuit escalated, the suspect pushed speeds to nearly 130 miles per hour, weaving aggressively through traffic and running multiple red lights, making it extremely difficult for officers to safely execute a pit maneuver. Given any opportunity, police would move in quickly to intercept and bring the situation to an end before it could spiral further out of control. The situation turned critical when the suspect lost control and slammed violently into another vehicle. Smoke and debris, likely from deployed airbags, filled the air, creating a chaotic scene at the intersection. Officers immediately exited their patrol cars with weapons drawn, securing the area. Moments later, the suspect was taken into custody. Columbus, Ohio. On the 7th of May, 2024, just after 1:15 p.m., Whitehall police received an alert from flock cameras about a vehicle stolen in an earlier armed robbery in Columbus. Although the initial pursuit began in Whitehall, officers requested assistance from Columbus police. Two suspects then led authorities on a pursuit in the stolen vehicle.
I got sick of my eyes. Right, he's going to be inside of this shopping mall behind the house on the Douglas.
The Hyundai sped through traffic at extremely high speeds, weaving dangerously between vehicles. The suspects showed no intention of stopping, ignoring police sirens and commands. The danger intensified as the car entered areas with heavier traffic, forcing officers to keep a safe distance while still staying close enough to avoid losing sight of the vehicle, especially on roads where construction workers were present.
I can't see, bro. How did you make it through all this? You ran it all over.
Six three, okay.
Are they agree on all in this place?
631 Climb in Riverbend.
Your job reading the entranceway to the Book Stadium. Your left Mount Street for southbound.
Get out, get out.
The driver demonstrated a clear familiarity with the area, making sharp turns at multiple intersections in an attempt to shake the pursuing patrol units. But the suspect underestimated the officers' training and coordination. In a critical moment, police successfully executed a pit maneuver, causing the vehicle to spin out of control and crash into a tree. The suspect was then quickly apprehended and placed in handcuffs. On the 12th of August, 2025, in Georgia, the pursuit began when police spotted a vehicle committing a traffic violation, typically speeding, or an issue with registration. Instead of complying with the signal to pull over, the driver immediately accelerated and fled.
Turn that ass off, she just took off. Black BMW.
As the pursuit intensified, speeds quickly surged to around 140 miles per hour, approximately 225 miles per hour, a deadly pace where even the smallest mistake could lead to a catastrophic crash. The suspect weaved aggressively across lanes, pushing the vehicle to its limits in an attempt to break away from pursuing units. However, the Georgia State Patrol, GSP, known for their elite driving skills, maintained close pursuit and applied constant pressure, denying the suspect any chance to escape onto side roads. When conditions allowed lighter traffic and sufficient space along the median or shoulder, the officer made the decision to end the pursuit using a pit maneuver. The patrol vehicle moved in and made controlled contact with the rear quarter of the suspect's car, causing it to lose control and come to a stop. Immediately after the vehicle was disabled, officers rushed in with weapons ready, ordering the suspect out of the car and proceeding with the arrest. After a prolonged escape through multiple streets, the suspect's vehicle began to lose its advantage as more patrol units joined the pursuit. Police implemented a containment strategy, steadily boxing the vehicle in and forcing it into narrower roads and areas with limited escape routes to slow it down. Under intense pressure from law enforcement, and possibly due to mechanical damage from the high-speed chase, the suspect continued weaving through traffic and running red lights. However, the vehicle was no longer capable of strong acceleration, likely because it had sustained significant damage. Once the suspect's vehicle could no longer accelerate, multiple police units moved in from all directions, forming a tight perimeter to prevent any further attempt to escape. Officers then carried out the arrest. The suspect was subdued, handcuffed, and placed into a patrol car. The scene was subsequently secured for a vehicle search and evidence collection. The pursuit ended without any serious injuries reported. On June 6th, police said the driver provided officers with a false name. While an officer was checking the license plate using that name, she suddenly made a U-turn and fled the scene.
Bye-bye. Blew the light out a little bit.
Copy, still westbound on Elizabeth.
West border.
West border.
Police closely pursued a grey SUV as the suspect drove recklessly, aggressively weaving through traffic, running red lights, and reaching extremely high speeds on major roadways. Multiple patrol units coordinated to maintain a containment perimeter, but the suspect continued exploiting gaps in traffic in an attempt to escape.
Do we have good info on the suspect vehicle? I question 2-door to James Stewart out of Island. I found it. Vehicle, either a Suburban or a Yukon, SUV or
After losing control either on a curve or due to excessive speed, the SUV mounted the curb and crashed violently into a roadside utility pole. The impact completely snapped the pole, sending power lines and debris scattering across the scene. As soon as the vehicle came to a stop, officers immediately approached with weapons drawn to ensure safety. They shouted clear commands for the driver to raise her hands and step out of the vehicle. A woman emerged from the driver's seat, visibly panicked and possibly injured, and was quickly subdued and taken into custody. The suspect made a sharp U-turn in the middle of the highway, attempting to head in the opposite direction and shake off pursuing. In 2014, police pursued a suspect driving a stolen Honda who appeared extremely unstable and reckless, aggressively weaving through busy intersections and running red lights without regard for anyone else on the road. This was a typical high-speed chase involving young offenders, often associated with groups like the Kia Boys or Hyundai Boys, marked by extreme speeds and dangerously impulsive behavior. A prolonged pursuit unfolded across multiple terrains, from city streets to residential neighborhoods. Columbus police employed parallel pursuit tactics to block off potential escape routes. Key concern: the danger was heightened by the fact that the suspects were teenagers. Panic and inexperience could easily lead to sudden, reckless maneuvers, putting innocent people at serious risk. The Georgia State Patrol, GSP, executed a near-perfect high-speed PIT maneuver, causing the suspect's vehicle to lose control and crash into a utility pole. This decisive action became necessary as the suspect's extreme speed posed a serious threat to public safety. The pursuit had stretched across multiple environments from city streets to residential areas, highlighting the strength of coordinated police response. Once the suspect was cornered and the vehicle was no longer operable, officers quickly formed a tight containment perimeter. The suspect was then subdued and placed in handcuffs. On the 16th of May 2016, the suspect drove in an extremely dangerous manner, aggressively weaving through lanes on both highways and city streets. The individual showed no hesitation in mounting medians and driving dangerously close to civilian vehicles in an attempt to escape.
We're still doing this part. Coming down onto Wilson Street before we're headed to You'll still head that way, that's the University.
Good, on for County Line.
Going up to Liscombe.
1033 Melbourne and County Line are passed.
North side of Liscombe. The 20's gonna have to stay to the west of Florida.
Let's come on board.
Alright, so I'm being great.
When officers deployed spike strips to disable the vehicle, the suspect showed no hesitation, accelerating straight through and blowing the tires. In a shocking moment, the driver nearly struck an officer, displaying a complete disregard for human life. Even with damaged tires, the suspect continued weaving aggressively through traffic and pressing the accelerator, determined to keep fleeing. When the suspect's vehicle entered a stretch of road with fewer civilian vehicles, an officer saw an opportunity to execute a pit maneuver. The patrol unit moved in close to the rear quarter of the suspect's car and delivered a precise pit. The impact caused the sedan to lose traction, spin sideways, and completely lose control. The vehicle rotated at times before crashing into the curb or median and coming to a stop. As soon as the vehicle came to a stop, at least 3-4 police units surrounded it from all directions. Officers immediately exited their vehicles with weapons ready, conducting a high-risk stop due to the robbery suspect. The suspect was subdued on the spot. The video concludes with the scene secured and the suspect successfully taken into custody with no injuries to bystanders.